Well, the parents of a local victim of gun violence have just returned from discussing this issue with lawmakers in Washington, D.C. Ron Davis and Lucia McBath spoke with the House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Congresswoman Corrine Brown. You'll remember their son Jordan was killed back in November when police say a man shot him to death over loud music. This morning we are joined live by Ron Davis and their family attorney John Phillips to talk more about their trip. Good morning to you both. Let's talk about what you talked to leaders about in Washington. Ron, we'll start with you.
We talked about gun control. We had a chance to meet with Nancy Pelosi and some of the other House members, and they wanted something that's comprehensive, something that, you have a thorough background check in each and every state in the union, and that's what we don't have at this time.
And Ron, do you really think something will be accomplished out of this hearing?
I do. They had Dr. Robinson from Connecticut was there, and several other victim advocates were there, and I think they really get it at this time. I think the House gets it. I think the Congress gets it, and I should hope the President and the White House, they get it, because we need something now. We just can't let it go. 2 weeks later, everybody forgets what's going on. When we're looking at elementary kids being shot in their school, I think America gets it now. I think they really understand that we really need some gun controls.
And talk to me, Ron, about the emotional impact this had on you and Lucia there, being surrounded by other parents who have lost their children as well to gun violence.
Yes, the Gifford, the young man that was killed, I believe his name is Nottingham, his mother was there speaking how she felt when she was on her way to the hospital to see whether her son was dead or alive, and what it did to her, what was in her stomach, what she felt. And I identified exactly what she was saying. When Jordan was shot, I didn't know whether he was dead or alive, and on my way to the hospital and getting there, I felt the very same thing. And me and her, we just bonded, we hugged, and I understood. And all the other victims that was there, they make you heal. That's what heals you, is because other people feel exactly the same way you feel.
Ron, I just cannot imagine that feeling there. John, let me ask you, how do you think it went from a legal perspective?
It went fantastic. Because of the inauguration, a lot of the Congress people were out of town or headed back home for a little bit to get some business done in their home territories. And 60 Democratic leaders, including Nancy Pelosi and the whip, the #1 and #2 of the Democratic Party, talked to Ron, talked to the family, had this hearing with 4 brilliant minds related, be either victims or the police side of gun control. And they're, with what President Obama said, agree with them or not, we need to all sit down at a table and have a real discussion about what tweaks we can make to stand your ground on state levels and background checks on a federal level. It went far beyond my expectations, honestly.
And let me ask you both this question, and then John, we'll start with you and end with Ron. What are your thoughts on the president's gun control plan? We've been covering it here for days. John, legally, do you think it's enough?
It's a step in the right direction, and again, there's going to be some constitutional challenges, obviously, to him using executive orders in some places, and there's going to get a political debate. So from that end, we've got to do more as a consortium. We all have to sit down and do more, because this isn't a black-white civil rights issue. This is a gun toters versus non-gun toters civil rights issue, and we've just got to understand, look, nobody's trying to take your guns away. Nobody's trying to prevent you from shooting somebody invading your house, but there's reasonable measures in the public that can be done, and he is in the right direction.
And Ron, as a parent, was it enough for you to hear what the president proposed?
I think there needs to be more. I think it's as much as he can do right now, but he does need the Congress behind him. I know the Congress has stated that they're not in favor of a lot of controls, and that's unfortunate. I don't know what it takes for them to be in favor of it. Mass shootings all across the country. I believe it was 47 mass shootings since the 90s. And with mass shootings, something has to give. There's some discussion from Mayor Nutter from Philadelphia, and I hope they interview Mayor Nutter, because he came up with some great ideas, and I hope he's interviewed in the future. I don't think it's enough. I don't think Jordan thinks it's enough. I know Lucy, Jordan's mother, doesn't think it's enough, and we're asking and begging the White House and the Congress to get together. For once in your life, get together, don't be bipartisan. Just get together and just make sure that we save our children, because our children need saved, and you can only be the ones to do it.
Mr. Davis, our sympathies stay with you and Jordan's mother here this morning. Thank you so much for making time for us, and John Phillips, his attorney, as well. We appreciate it. You can read more on this story by going to actionnewsjax.com.